So finally, the day has come and I've managed to get my hands on a pair of the rather good looking new Xodus Ultra 4s from Saucony in this pretty cool sort of brown tan military colorway. But let's start off with a bit of a history lesson with the Xodus Ultra and Run4Adventure if you're new to the channel. So the original shoe has to be one of my favorite trail running shoes of all time. I used it for lots of tough, challenging training miles and race miles, and it never let me down once. Such a great shoe. When it got an update to the 2s, again, similar story, very comfortable for running long distance. Maybe not as good as the originals, but still a top performing trail shoe. However, when it got updated to the 3s, I felt like it lost a bit of its magic, and I never found the Xodus Ultra 3s that exciting to run in. If anything, they felt a little bit flat. So I've got all my fingers and toes tightly crossed that this, the latest version, the Xodus Ultra 4s, is going to restore some of my faith in this once great trail running shoe. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. Let's find out. Thanks for tuning in again, folks, or if you're new to the channel, then it's great to have you along. Really hope you enjoyed today's video. But I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure, your friendly, informative, running related YouTube channel. Now, I don't know whether you can tell, but I am very excited to take these out for their first run today. So I am going to get stuck straight in with some facts and figures, and we're going to start off with the all-important price. So the Xodus Ultra 4 retails here in the UK for £150, and I suppose in today's crazy world of running shoe prices, that isn't too bad. The one thing I would say is, before I do any of these sort of review videos, I jump online and I try and find out as much information about the shoes as possible. So I popped onto Saucony's website to get some details, and there's literally nothing on there about the shoe. So when I mean nothing, I literally mean nothing. So no weights, no stack heights, no offsets, no lug depth, so no information, and it just doesn't make sense to me. How do these companies expect us to purchase the shoes off their website if they're not giving us any details? I mean, it'd be like buying a new car and not knowing the age, the mileage, the service history, or the economy stats, and we just wouldn't do that. So come on, Saucony, you've got to up your website game and give your customers a bit more information about your shoes. I suppose, luckily, we've got channels like this that are going to help you out. So I searched hard on the good old interweb and I have found the facts and figures. So first up, when it comes to stack height, exactly the same as the previous version. So we've got 36mm at the heel, 30mm under the forefoot, giving the new shoe a 6mm heel offset. Flipping them over, we've got a 4mm lug depth on this new Vibram Mega Grip rubber outsole, and yes, you heard me correctly, we now have a nice sticky Vibram Mega Grip outsole on the new Xodus Ultra 4, so definitely a big update indeed. And then last but not least, the all-important weight, and my pair in a UK 9.5 tipped the scales at 344 grams, and that is a hefty 21 gram weight increase compared to the previous version, and an even bigger 36 grams compared to that brilliant original Xodus Ultra, and that has left me feeling a little bit disappointed because they do feel quite heavy in hand. Moving on to the construction, starting at the top, and we've got a pretty rugged looking upper design. So Saucony have utilised this durable, breathable, engineered mesh for the bulk of the construction, and we got some substantial overlays going on as well. So at the heel, wrapping around the toe box, and they've also integrated some nice upfront protection in the form of a toe bumper. We've got 2 locking loops either side of the lace system there, and we've got a well padded gusseted tongue, ankle collar and heel cup. And then finishing up, we've got a handy pull tab at the top of the tongue and on the heel, and Saucony have also worked in a little gaiter attachment at the bottom of the laces. As far as the midsole goes, we still have that brilliant dual compound setup, and that was one of the standout features for me on the original Xodus and on the updated 2s. Like I've already mentioned though, it did seem to lose a bit of responsiveness and energy return in the 3s, and they just felt a little bit flat to me. But good news on that front, because Saucony have actually increased that core of Power Run PB supercritical foam by 8% this time round. So hopefully that's going to put a bit of a spring back in the step of the Xodus Ultra. And then finally, getting on to the biggest update, and that has to be the addition of a full Vibram Mega Grip rubber outsole. And it's awesome to see this sticky rubber compound on the bottom of the Xodus Ultra. And I know in the past, some runners had grip issues in the previous versions. I never really had any grip problems at all, but definitely gonna improve overall outsole performance having Vibram Mega Grip on the bottom now. I also do think that having this new outsole has played a big part in that substantial weight increase, but I guess there's always gonna be compromise when it comes to our trail running shoes. So you can see some pretty big updates by Saucony this time round, and lots of things have changed, and hopefully they've changed for the better. I'm still not fully convinced by that significant weight increase. I never think it's a great thing when a new version comes out and it's gone up in weight, and this has gone up by quite a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects performance, and I guess there's only one way to find out, and that's to take these out for a spin, and that is exactly what we're going to do now, and you guys are coming along with us. So I'm off to get changed, we're going to grab the GoPros, and we'll see you out on the trails. Okay, we are 3 miles in, and you might have realised by now that I'm not running in Cornwall. So we're actually staying at the Holmesley campsite in the New Forest. So we've had a couple of very busy days. If you've been following us on social media, you'll know that we were running in the Lake District, then we were up in Glasgow, then we went to a company called the Ply Guys, then we came down, we popped into Harrier in Derby, and like I said, now we're in the New Forest, and we're going to be heading to Precision Fuel and Hydration tomorrow to do some filming. Now, the reason we've been up to Scotland from Cornwall is going to be revealed on the channel very soon, and we can't wait. We're so excited to share the news with you guys. It's been in the planning for a year. It's finally all come together. So keep your eyes peeled. We'll be letting you know what we've been up to over the last couple of weeks very soon on the channel. But back to the shoe now. Even though we've been really busy, I've had lots of people messaging saying, is the Xodus Ultra 4 review coming soon? So I thought, even though we're on the road, we've got some lovely trails here in the New Forest, it would be perfect testing ground. So far, like I said, 3 miles in, the run is going well. Size-wise, I'm a UK 9.5 in a lot of shoes. I have been in every Xodus Ultra, and this UK 9.5 is fitting really well on length. So I would say they're definitely true to size. As far as width in the toe, again, like previous models, I'd say it's not narrow, it's not wide, somewhere in the middle, and it does work well for my foot shape, and I'm not overly wide. So nice width in the toe box, a nice lockdown around my midfoot, and a good hold in the heel. So far, fit and upper comfort is feeling really good. And not only have we got some epic trails to run on, but we've also got some beautiful blue skies and bright sunshine, and it is lovely running conditions today. And you can see down there, we've got some lovely woodland trails. So we're going to carry on the run. Like I said, we're only 3 miles in. We're going to try and get 8 miles in. It's a good distance when you're testing out a new shoe. And early signs are that, personally for me, the Xodus Ultra 4 feels a little bit more exciting to run in than the previous Xodus Ultra 3s, which I did find a little bit disappointing when I compared them to the 2s and the brilliant original Xodus Ultra. But early days yet. Let's crack on, get these extra miles in, and see how the shoes perform. Okay, so the run continues to go well. We're just coming up to 6.5 miles. Not sure we're gonna get 8 in tonight. I'm a bit pushed for time, but should be 7+, and the shoe's continuing to run well. So like all the other Xodus Ultras for me, it runs very comfortable straight out the box. No rubbing, no irritation or anything like that from the upper. And like I said earlier, it's fitting my foot shape really well. As far as that midsole goes, definitely got a bit more pop to it compared to the Xodus Ultra 3. So I think with Saucony adding 8% more power on PB, it's put a bit of a spring back in the step of the shoe, which is definitely something that I felt was missing in the previous version. So it's really good to have that back. Okay, so just about to head back into the campsite to the adventure bus where Liga is waiting, and I think there's a pizza van coming to the campsite tonight at 6, so got about an hour time to get a shower, and then we're going to devour a couple of pizzas and get some much needed calories after the last 3 or 4 busy days, and we got a busy day filming tomorrow. But let's get back to the bus and then we'll wrap up with a quick conclusion on how the new Xodus Ultra 4 has performed around the trails of the New Forest. Well, we are back from what can only be described as an epic road trip from Cornwall all the way up to Glasgow in Scotland, and it has been a busy 5 or 6 days because we wanted to cram in as much as possible, but we did film some awesome content along the way, which is going to be coming to the channel over the next few weeks. So I know you're all there waiting to hear the results of the test run, so let's get these bags out the way first, and then we'll discuss how the latest Xodus Ultras performed on their first run around the New Forest. Now, I suppose the question is, are they as good as the brilliant original Xodus Ultras, or has that additional weight affected the feel and overall performance of the shoes in a negative way? Well, let's find out. The first thing I would say is the upper felt very comfortable straight away. So a good level of padding around the ankle collar, in the heel cup and in that gusseted tongue. And I've always found that to be the case with the Xodus Ultra. And the upper has never caused me any issues when it comes to my feet in any of the previous models. The same can be said for the 4s. So no irritation, no rubbing or anything like that out there on the run. The only thing I would say is it was a pretty warm day, 25 to 26 degrees, and that is quite warm here in the UK. And I did feel that this new upper ran quite warm and my feet were pretty hot by the end of the run. As far as the new midsole setup goes, I think Saucony are heading in the right direction by adding 8% more of their Power Run PB foam, which is their performance-driven foam cushioning, to this dual compound setup in the midsole. Definitely helped when it came to energy return, and I did feel like I was getting a lot more bounce from this midsole compared to the slightly flat feeling midsole setup in the Xodus Ultra 3s. I still wouldn't say it's as nimble and as responsive in feel as the original version of the Xodus Ultra, but I think it's definitely a step in the right direction for Saucony, if you'll excuse the pun. Most of today's run was on compacted trails or gravelly pathways, and the Xodus Ultra 4 seemed to perform well in that type of environment. Obviously, the shoes now come with a full Vibram Mega Grip rubber outsole, and this lug pattern seemed to offer good levels of traction on any of the loose trails that I came across. Obviously, you could see from the footage, it was very dry in the New Forest today and not a puddle in sight. So I didn't get to test the levels of grip from this outsole in wet conditions. But if you've ever run in a trail shoe with Vibram Mega Grip rubber on the bottom of it, you'll know that it's super sticky when you're running on sort of rocky or wet rocky trails. You know, it really is a confidence boosting outsole material. So I actually think this outsole design on the new Xodus should be able to handle most types of terrain and weather conditions. But because of the depth of the lug, I think you would struggle maybe with a bit of loss of traction if it was really wet and really muddy on the trails. So wrapping up after my 7.5 mile run, and I'm feeling pretty positive about the changes that Saucony have made, and I definitely preferred my first run in these when I compare it to my first run in the previous version, the Xodus Ultra 3. The only thing I would say is I did notice the extra weight, and if I'm honest, I noticed that extra weight quite a lot. And it's funny because back in the day, Saucony used to make the Xodus trail shoe, and that was a ridiculously heavy shoe, and it really put me off running in them. Now, the Xodus Ultra 4 isn't as bad as that, but I would have liked to seen them closer to sort of 300 grams rather than the 340 plus grams that these are, because, you know, in a UK 9.5 at that type of weight, it does make them a heavy trail shoe. So for me, it feels like we've got an improved midsole setup, a comfortable upper design, if not a little bit warm, and obviously outsole performance has improved because we've now got a Vibram Mega Grip rubber outsole. But I can't help but thinking that increased weight has had a little bit of a negative impact on the overall shoe's performance. And I actually think a lot of that weight increase comes from having a full Vibram Mega Grip rubber outsole. So to me, it's like we've kind of gone 2 steps forwards and then 1 step back when it comes to the new Xodus Ultra 4. And on that bombshell, there are my initial thoughts on the latest version of Saucony's popular trail running shoe, the Xodus Ultra. But it would be great to hear your thoughts as well, guys. So if you've been running in a pair, how has the fit, feel and performance felt for you? Do you think that added weight increase has affected the overall performance in a negative way? Let me know in the comments below. I've got to say a big shout out to Saucony for sending through a pair of the latest Xodus for us to test and review on the channel. And a big thanks to you guys for clicking on the thumbnail and watching the video. You might be able to tell I've got a bit of a croaky voice. So yesterday I actually did a heat lab session at Precision Fuel and Hydration. It was an awesome experience. They got me running on a treadmill at a steady pace for 60 minutes in 38 degrees to see how my body handled the heat. So got some real interesting science and facts and figures at the end of it. But then we had to do a 5-hour drive back to Cornwall. So I think I am very dehydrated still. So we are going to jump on the fluids for the rest of the day and hopefully stop that from happening. But if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And while you're there, hit that bell icon because then you'll be notified when we upload any new exciting content. And boy, have we got some exciting content heading your way very soon that might be featuring a very cool new adventure bus. So like I said, hit that bell icon because you definitely don't want to miss that content. But until next time, guys, thanks for supporting the channel. It's always appreciated. We'll be back here soon. And as always, stay safe and keep on running.